Commissioners Paul Weekland. It's very interesting that I believe there's some kind of scam going on here. How is this technology new and different? We've had this pop up technology since 1911, is when it was first outlawed for fishing in California. These zinc links and the deteriorating cotton thread that would have a definite time period that you would know exactly when your buoy would pop up. But the game wardens over the decades would say, no, 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 we don't want it. The enforcement problem was the deal. And forevermore, we should have marked the buoys. And to consider this a new technology is kind of upsetting. The sonars that were used back in World War I and World War II, and the fact that they were using their mines, the released mines for the battles in the ocean, it's not a new technology. But I think there's a scam going on because once you get this all done and suck up all the grant money, you're going to have a specific person you're going to be required, mandatory to buy it from. And how do you stop a retarded whale from running into your traps? There's stupid whales and it's going to always happen just like people. And how do you stop a suicide attack whale from ramming your vessel? I think that's what you got to figure out. How to stop a suicide attack whale from ramming your vessel seems would be more important than a retarded whale that gets tangled up in gear. And if you really want to help the whales, you'd go after the United States Navy, who kills tens of thousands of whales every year. And well, no, they're exempt. They can kill whatever they want. It doesn't matter. But if one fisherman happens to, have a problem and there's a suicide attack whale hits his boat, he's in big trouble, even though it wasn't he caused it or anything. Once again, how do you stop a retarded whale from getting tangled up in your gear? Very good. Commissioners, Paul Weekland. Now, how is it for the last 80 years, or as far back as I can see in the regulations, we call grappling a downline hooked to traps poaching? How is it that we've had this technology for decades, but we're not allowed to use it? Because the enforcement people said it was poaching. It was too easy not to be detected using these pop-up gear. The drug smugglers there for quite a while, they used those zinc links and they worked perfect for them. They'd come in close to the shore, dump off the big bundles, know that you'd have 3 days, go back out in 3 days on the pops. The buoys will pop up and pull your drugs ashore in the middle of the night. Been working, still working today. And so how is it not a scam that in the regulations, what you're proposing is called poaching already? And if you really want to help some people out, let's be honest and show some integrity and admit that the downlines and the whale entanglements is such a small, minute number of whales. Compared to the United States Navy, it's nothing. And again, I have to ask, how do you stop a retarded whale from wrapping himself up? There's just things that happen. And the minute amount of whales is nothing compared to the devastation that the United States Navy, the Russian Navy, the Norwegian Navy, and the Norwegians still harvest whales for meat. And so how do you stop a suicide attack whale from hitting your vessel? These things are what I would like to see handled, not this scam of legalizing what used to be poaching. So you really, really are some grant-sucking parasites. And I think that's the goal. More grant money. Grant. We need another grant. Isn't that what Oceana does? Grant.
Paul Weekland.
Commissioners Paul Weekland. Boy, am I disappointed again in you guys. Really? We're told to start, to get ready, to plan, to begin to start, to think about the possibilities of a discussion, to create a group that may find a way to proceed in a forward motion sometime in the future. So stand by, gather your thoughts for a routine in abalone management or lack of it. No fishing is no management. The abalone aquaculture, the reason we can't fish, one of the major ones, is a failure. Nobody wants to buy those rotten little things. And the diseases that are rampant in these aquaculture facilities still hasn't gotten under control. So when can we find someone honestly to tell the truth? And it's almost like you're committing fraud with the lack of response on abalone and the evidence that there are so many abalones out there. And we know that the abalones that are over 7 inches, that is why the sport size limit is 7 inches. They're like every living thing on earth. They start shooting blanks. They do not contribute to the reproduction of the species. So harvesting, abalones, the old, decrepit, huge abalones that no longer contribute to the biomass or nowhere have anything to do with the reproduction of the species. We're just allowing them to grow old and fall off the rocks and die. They're dying of old age, and you're not utilizing them properly. You're not managing our resource. It's the people of the state of California who own these things, and they should have access to them. Let's get on the ticket and quit committing this fraud on abalone. Commissioners, Paul Weekland. Are you reading me?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, it's one of the drawbacks to this Zoom deal. Commissioners, Paul Weekland. I just want to talk about future meetings. And for over 200 years, you held your meetings in Sacramento. And it was held in Sacramento. That way, no one would have to drive more or travel more than 500 miles to get to the meetings. And this thing, this skullduggery, this, what do they call it? Bureaucratic double shuffle you did by traveling around the state, having parties and whatever you want to call it, is now at an end. And I think that this is historic and traditional, and it's a good thing. I saw some meetings where the hot topics down in San Diego, but you had held the final meetings in Alturas. And, someone has to drive 1,000 miles to get to your meetings. Well, I guess that after some of the recent ordeals and this long, drawn-out way that you're unable to keep the pace going on the meetings, I would like to say something about some of your future meetings. Maybe I should hold off for the public comment. But I say get rid of Zoom. Make sure you're in the room to make your comments. All right, thank you. Commissioners, Paul Weekland. Are you reading me?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, it's one of the drawbacks to this Zoom deal. Anyway, I'm going to rely on history and tradition again. And this public forum at the end of the agenda is so foul and vile. It's despicable. It's the, what did they call it? The bureaucratic double shuffle. If you want to truly fulfill your public trust obligations, you will have this public forum in the very beginning of your agendas every day, every meeting. And in the past, historically, the public comment was right up front, and that's when the, what do we call them? Highly revealed individuals and public officials were able to speak first at the public comment on the first agenda on the items that they cared about and wanted to bring to the commission and the public's attention. But no longer is that the way you do things. You hide in the middle of the night, all the way back. This is how much you value the public. We see what's going on. And this will taint you forevermore in your political goals, that this is how you are attaining the public's confidence. Not. This is how you value the public. Not. You better get with the program and look at the Bag-Keeney Open Meeting Act and the Roberts Rules of Order that both demand and require that the beginning of the meeting starts with the public forum, not the last thing on the agenda like you people are doing. It's pretty wicked, sinister, and evil to allow this to be the last thing on the agenda. You need to correct that right away and get your standing and public confidence back up there. How can we trust someone that says, oh, yeah, the public's so important, and then you put it last on the agenda?